Emotional work wounds are rarely visible from the outside, but their impact is clearly felt. Consider these scenarios. Enter Amira. Amira is a visible minority senior engineer who is slated for promotion. Her boss tells her she's the most competent engineer in the company, but pays her significantly less than the going rate, and, behind her back, hires a junior male colleague to replace her. Next, I'd like to introduce you to Juan. Juan is a newcomer to Canada, working on the line in a meat processing plant. His supervisor refuses to let him go to the bathroom for the entire shift, and then laughs to see how humiliated he is. Finally, I'd like you to meet Al. Al is a loyal and cheerful healthcare worker who, for 20 plus years, never received a single positive evaluation or a single acknowledgement for his excellent work. Then, days before he retired, he was given a negative work evaluation written by someone who had never met him or ever seen him work. Some retirement gift. And raise your hand if you have ever been subjected to unrealistic work expectations that caused you burnout. I see quite a few hands going up. Me too. No matter where you are on the scale of career work trauma, it leaves a lasting emotional and moral wound that causes you to feel unworthy, incompetent, and to second-guess yourself to the point of distress. So who are these people, and why am I introducing them to you? Well, Amira is similar to many of the women who enter my coaching practice. They all have almost the same story. They're replaced by someone who's junior and incompetent. They have a career cut, and they're treated with disrespect. Juan told me his story the day after it happened, in tears. And because I listened, his colleagues came and told me their stories too. It was the story of a supervisor who had been abusing employees for 10 years with no reprisal. Does it make you mad? Makes me mad. And Al, that loyal healthcare employee who never received any positive evaluations until the negative one just before he retired, that was my father. And that person who was subjected on multiple occasions in multiple jobs to unrealistic work expectations and driven to the point of burnout, me. Healing the pain of emotional work trauma matters to me. Increasing psychological safety in the workplace matters to me. And here's why I'm so passionate about this topic. I'm passionate because in my own career, it was normalized and considered appropriate to give unrealistic, unfair, and basically disrespectful treatment to all the employees in the workplace. And I had no language or supports to even name my feelings when this was happening, much less to heal the wounds. But now as a certified emotional success coach, I can help not only maintain my own nervous system to feel safe and to heal from the trauma of the past, I can offer that type of support to my clients. So what is career trauma? Career trauma refers to distressing and harmful experiences encountered during professional life that leave a lasting negative impact on self-esteem, well-being, and the ability to do your job at work. Let me say that one more time. Career trauma refers to distressing or harmful events experienced in professional life that leave a lasting negative impact on self-esteem, well-being, and the ability to perform well at work. How do you know if you have or could be getting career trauma? Well, you will have difficulty focusing and you'll feel constantly on edge. You'll have wide mood swings with intense emotional reactions to things that don't seem such a big deal to other people. You'll have difficulty trusting people, and you'll be plagued with chronic unidentified pain and possibly migraines, gastrointestinal issues, high anxiety, all related to high workplace stress and career trauma. If your workplace has any of these characteristics, you may be in danger of developing career trauma. High demand, low control. High effort, low reward. Unfair treatment, discrimination, harassment, and abuse of authority, just like the examples I told you about earlier on. In 2020, The Canadian Centre for Addictions and Mental Health produced a report. In that report is one statistic that stands out for me. 500,000 Canadians a day miss work because of psychologically unsafe work conditions. 500,000 Canadians a day. And it hasn't improved since 2023 when they updated the report. And although we have had a national psychological workplace safety standard in Canada since 2016, and more employees are seeking compensation for the effects of toxic workplaces on their well-being and their health, none of these assurances actually help us to heal. And as a result, we develop high levels of sensitivity to danger signals, and we're numbed to safety signals. Let me give you an example so you know what I mean. Let's say you and I are work colleagues, and we meet each other in the hallway, and I say hello, but you don't greet me back. I stop greeting you after a while. Then, one day you come up to me and say, "Hi, Marie, how are you?" in a warm and welcoming tone. I might be surprised. I might be a bit skeptical, or I might just be thrilled that I'm recognized as a human being in the workplace. That's because I can recognize the safety signs. I see them in front of me. But now, let's say that in this workplace, people are isolated. There's a high critical culture of criticism. There's insult, disrespect, and everybody is on high alert to danger cues, including me. You come and you give me this warm, welcoming greeting, I would see it as dangerous. I would respond by yelling or saying something rude because I can't see the safety cues that are right in front of me. Does this explain some behavior you've seen at work? So let's look at this from the brain perspective. We have an amygdala at the base of our brainstem, and it's responsible for detection of threat and safety. And then around it is the hippocampus, which helps us to link emotion and memory. And then the prefrontal cortex helps us to make sense of it and put some kind of reasoning and logic into it. When we're experiencing unhealed career trauma, the amygdala sends lots of danger signals, which means increased adrenaline, increased cortisol, increased anxiety and paranoia. The hippocampus shrinks and cannot make nuanced connections between memory and emotion. And the prefrontal cortex has its abilities to think suppressed, so you actually can't think when you're in that moment of distress. Through your body is coursing adrenaline and cortisol, which normally you only need for dangerous situations. But when you're trapped in a workplace situation and you can't move, that's what causes the trauma. Dr. Stephen Porges he did amazing research on the nervous system, and he discovered that when we have healthy nervous systems, there's two really strong characteristics. One is that you can feel and name emotions. And the other one is that you have body sensations that you can detect. When we have trauma in the nervous system, we can't feel emotions or name them, and we can't detect body sensations. So with that in mind, when you enter into, say, a coaching session with a career trauma coach, what happens is the coach helps you to identify one small incident that has some emotion attached to it, but it's not too big. And you decouple the emotion from the incident so you can remember it without being flooded by emotion or feeling triggered. When that happens, the most exciting thing is that your nervous system opens a window of capacity. That window of capacity means, yes, you're safe. And all the healing hormones that you need to stay safe are released into your body. Dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphin are some of them. And as they're released into your body, you experience well-being, your digestion improves, your thinking improves, and you have better blood flow, a better heart rate. All of these things happen because we need those hormones to heal. So we can't actually control the external stressors that we have in our lives. If your boss has prejudice against you, that's not something you can control. If a colleague comes late to work, well, that's not something you can control either. But we can control what happens in our nervous systems. And this is the 3 techniques I wanted to tell you about that are even more hopeful. So the first one is breathing. I know, breathing, but there's more to it. Moving and connecting with other human beings. Let's start with breathing. So with breathing, if you just notice your breath coming in and out of your nose, you already start to divert the danger signal from your amygdala to a safety signal. And when you take a breath in and out consciously, that makes your nervous system feel even safer. When we do it together as a group, we co-regulate each other's nervous systems. Let's try it. Breathe in, breathe out. And we experience a sense of safety as a group. This even works on a Zoom call. I was with a group of oil rig managers for a training, and one time they came onto the training extremely agitated, and before I could ask what was going on, one of them started to yell at me, "I don't have time for this, I don't have time for this, I don't have time for this." And I said, "You do not have time for this, but do you have time for one breath?" And he was kind of surprised, and he went, "Okay, I'll take one breath, that's all." So he took a breath and exhaled it, and he visibly calmed down. The other managers said, "Could we do that?" So we did. Breathe in, breathe out. There's a moment of silence, and then one of the managers on the group said, "We just witnessed a fatality. Somebody on our work team died. And our supervisor told us, get to the training and go back to work. But we are not fit for work, and we need to go tell him we're not fit for work. We could cause another accident if we go in this state." See how rational they were from just a couple of breaths? That's the power of breath, conscious breath. And you have that power too. But you need to practice it so you've got it at the command of your inspiration when you need it. So just practice once or twice a day, being conscious of your breath coming in and out. And that will help you to develop that nervous system calming at level 1. Level 2 is movement. We have bodies and we're mammals and we need to move. Movement is necessary. That's the next level of sustaining the nervous system. So the next time you're stuck in front of your computer screen and you just can't get an answer to the problem, instead of staying there and being less and less productive, get up, take a few steps, and then when you come back to your computer, eureka, you will have thought of a way to get into that problem because you had blood flow, you had bilateral movement in your legs and your arms, and all of that helped your nervous system to feel safe. In the wild, there are animals that are hunting or being hunted, and when they're finished, any animals that are left, they're pretty scared. They've got a lot of adrenaline surging through their bodies, and so they tremor. You've probably seen this. And then they shake, and then they fall asleep. And that's what we need to do. When we've witnessed something or experienced something distressing, we need to release the adrenaline from our muscles by high aerobic movement, like swimming or dancing or whatever you like to do. But then we need rest, because the balance of rest and movement helps us to heal. And you will know that you are using this technique effectively when you feel ready. Ready to wake up, ready to go to work, ready to listen to your colleagues, ready to hear about a problem, ready to solve a problem. Readiness is a sign of nervous system safety. Cool, eh? There's one more. The third one is about connecting with human beings. Connecting with nature and connecting with animals is also important, but connecting with human beings is something we are actually hardwired to do. And it's so important that if we don't get it, we will die, individually and as a species. There was a really interesting experiment done called Still Face, where the researcher asked mothers to disconnect emotionally from their babies for just 3 minutes. And when they disconnected for those 3 minutes and had a still face, the babies started to coo and try and get their mother's attention, and then they cried, and then they had an emotional meltdown, and then they just went weak, and they slumped, and they turned away from their mothers and looked hopeless. In 3 minutes, that's what disconnection does to a baby. And as soon as the mothers took the babies back into their arms and cuddled them again, they established co-regulation between their nervous systems, and they were better. In the book, Burnout, by the Nagoski sisters, they write that we need 20 seconds of hugs a day. It can come from multiple people or one person, but 20 seconds is the minimum. 20 seconds of hugs means we get that interpersonal physical connection that we need to stay regulated. And Charles Duhigg wrote in his book, Super Communicators, that we will know if we have enough human connection in our lives because we'll have more fun in our interactions with other people. We'll enjoy the interactions. We'll laugh. We'll smile more. We'll stand or sit closer together. There'll be expression on our faces. One person might tell a sad story, the other one will listen with empathy. We'll offer solace and bring joy. And we'll be able to do that because we'll be regulated in our nervous systems. So if you remember to breathe intentionally, move consciously, and also connect consciously and intentionally with other human beings, you will have a safer nervous system. And when your nervous system is safe, you co-regulate your colleagues' nervous systems, creating psychological workplace safety. Isn't that great? So although we don't have any control over those external stressors in our lives, we do have control over making sure we're consciously using those 3 natural regulators we have in our nervous system. And to help you remember it, I'd like to end with the Gandhi peace greeting. You can follow along if you like. It goes like this. I offer you friendship. I offer you peace. I offer you love. I see your beauty. I hear your needs. I feel your feelings. My wisdom comes from a higher source. I salute that source in you. Come, let us work together.